Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you to Enmax's 2025 Annual General Meeting. I'm Charles Rugrock, Chair of the Enmax Board, and I will be hosting today's meeting. I would like to welcome everyone here to the Confluence Historic Site and Parkland, and those joining us virtually. A recording of our meeting will be available on enmax.com later today. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai nations, the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina Nation. This is also homeland to the historic Northwest Métis and to the Otipemisiwak Métis, Government Nose Hill Métis Nation District 5, and Elbow District 6. The Confluence Historic Site is located where the Bow River meets the Elbow River. This site has long been called Moginstus by the Blackfoot, also Winchispa by the Nakota, Gutisti by the Tsuut'ina, and is the birthplace of the city of Calgary. Our annual general meeting is an opportunity for us to share with Calgary City Council and all Calgarians the results of our operations and performance for the last year. We are proud to stand before you today to share the story of 2024 at Enmax. I would now like to welcome City Council members in their role as shareholder of Enmax. Present with us today are Mayor Gondek, Councillor Sharp, Councillor Mian, Councillor Chu, Councillor Dhaliwal, Councillor Walcott, Councillor Kara, Councillor Chabot, Councillor Penner, Councillor Spencer, Councillor McLean. And joining us virtually, we have Councillor Wyness, Councillor Wong, and Councillor Demong. I would also like to welcome members of the Enmax board, and we have a fairly good turnout today because we just happen to have this AGM on the heels of our board meetings the last 2 days. So those that normally would not join us from out of town were able to join us here today. They include Nipa Chakravarti, Laura Formusa, Eric Markel, Barbara Monroe, Byron Nealis, Dr. Chika Nwekwe, Elise Rees, William Taylor, and Bruce Williamson. And we have several members of our management team joining us as well. Mark Poweska up here at the front. The mayor is our president and CEO, and also a member of the board, along with Sherry Primrose, our chief financial officer, Greg Retzer, our executive vice president of Enmax Power, Erica Young, executive vice president of Enmax Energy, Brandy Yarish, our Chief Human Resources Officer and Executive Vice President of Safety and IT, and Sarah Stevens, our Senior Vice President, Regulatory and Chief Legal Officer, and Marie Rajic, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs. With those introductions, I would like to move to the formal proceedings of our annual general meeting. I've been instructed that quorum has been met and have determined that this meeting is duly constituted. Notice for this annual general meeting has been given in accordance with the amended and restated bylaws of Enmax Corporation. With that as chair, I now call the Enmax annual general meeting to order. Members of council, the agenda appears on the screen in the room before you. Following remarks from Mayor Gondek as the shareholder representative, I will provide an update on behalf of the board. We will have 3 formal matters of business presented today: the receipt of Enmax's 2024 audited financial statements and financial report, the appointment of our external auditor for 2025, and the annual election of our board of directors. After we complete this morning's formal business, we will receive an update from Mark Poweska, our president and CEO, followed by time for questions from our shareholder, and then from members of the public. We're scheduled to end around 10:15 this morning, and as chair of the meeting, I will make every effort to ensure we stay on track so we have enough time for questions at the end. I would now like to invite Mayor Gondek to say a few words as a shareholder representative.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everyone for attending today and for my colleagues that are virtual as well. A very big thanks to the Enmax board for your continued commitment to the corporation, and thank you to the senior leadership team for all of the work you do to make sure this corporation is strong and prosperous. I want to thank my council colleagues for diligently reviewing materials and understanding how important this relationship is as the shareholder. I also want to give you some encouraging news. I just have returned from the Chamber event with newly minted Minister Hodgson. It sounds promising. He said all of the right things related to energy. He talked about electricity, so I do believe that there is some latitude to have conversations about the clean electricity regulations that we have all been somewhat concerned about. I also think it's a very good thing that Mark Koweska has an existing relationship with the minister, so I think we could be in good shape. Given everything that this city and this province is able to provide to our federal government, it is encouraging to be taken seriously. So good first indications. I think we might be in good shape. So again, thank you all for stewarding the corporation, and I will turn things back over to Charles.
Thank you, Mayor Gundick. Before we begin today's formal business, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on Enmax's strong performance over the past year and the foundation we built together for continued success. 2024 was a year of significant achievement for Enmax. We delivered strong financial results, maintained safe and reliable service, and advanced our priorities despite continued market and regulatory uncertainty in the energy sector. Those outcomes reflect the strength of our leadership, the expertise of our people, and the strong governance that guides us. I want to thank Calgary City Council for your leadership and partnership over the last 4 years. Your vision and support, especially during a time of energy transition, have helped shape our strategy and ensure Enmax continues to deliver long-term value to Calgarians. This shared work led to a refreshed shareholder value proposition, which provides a clear framework for the city's investment in Enmax. It focuses on 3 commitments: to strive to increase value over time, to maintain a reliable and agile business, and aligning with the city's economic, social, and environmental goals. We've embedded that framework in our strategy. We sharpened our focus on the growth of our regulated businesses, enabling continued investment in our transmission and distribution infrastructure. Our governance practices remain central to our success. Regular engagement with Council, including our annual business plan session, ongoing financial reporting to the City's Audit Committee, and our inaugural Investor Day this past September, reflect our commitment to transparency and accountability. Looking at 2024, the results speak for themselves. Since its founding investment of $280 million, the city's equity in Enmax has grown to over $3.2 billion, and we've returned more than $1.5 billion in dividends, including $103 million declared this year. With a strong balance sheet, disciplined financial approach, and a diversified business model, Enmax is well positioned to navigate market, policy, and geopolitical uncertainty while continuing to deliver on the city's priorities. Yesterday, we also released our 2024 ESG report and our annual report on governance and compensation, both reinforcing our commitment to transparency, sustainability, and high standards of corporate conduct. As a trusted energy partner, Enmax is enabling responsible growth by ensuring grid reliability, advancing operational excellence, and supporting a sustainable, customer-focused energy future. On behalf of the board, thank you for your ongoing confidence in Enmax. We look forward to building on our shared success. I will now turn to the former shareholder business on today's agenda. The first item of business is to confirm that the shareholder of Enmax Corporation is provided with the annual audited financial statements and financial report for 2024, as approved by the Enmax Board of Directors on March the 6th, 2025. This addresses a legal requirement that the financial statements be placed before the shareholder at the annual general meeting. A copy of the Enmax 2024 audited financial statements and financial report were included in your information package provided in advance of today's meeting as Schedule A. These were also presented to the shareholder by email on March 6, 2025. May I please have confirmation on receipt of the audited financial statements and financial report for 2024?
Thank you. I can confirm receipt of Enmax's audited financial statements and the financial report for 2024.
Thank you, Mayor Gondek. The second order of business is the appointment of the external auditor. The Enmax Audit Committee and Board reviewed this item and are recommending the reappointment of Deloitte LLP as auditors of Enmax Corporation for fiscal 2025. The Board is also asking for authorization to fix the remuneration of Deloitte LLP for audit work associated with the 2025 fiscal year. May I please have a motion to move the resolution before you?
I will make that motion on behalf of the shareholder. I will also ask, are there any members of council who are not in agreement with this? I will cast the vote in favor of the motion that's before us on behalf of the shareholder.
Thank you again, Mayor Gondek. We will now move to the third item of the agenda, the annual election of directors. The Enmax board is made up of experienced leaders who together work hard to ensure Enmax's values, strategic direction, and commitment to safe, reliable operations is lived every day. We're proud of the diverse range of industry, business, and community leadership perspectives our board brings for the benefit of our organization, the shareholder, and the citizens of Calgary. We strive to ensure we have the right expertise, skill sets, tenure, and succession of the board. Before I introduce this year's proposed slate of directors, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a recent change. Earlier this month, we received the resignation of one of our board members, the Honourable Senator Darrell Fredhandler. As some of you may know, Senator Fredhandler was appointed to the Canadian Senate in August last year. Considering this significant new responsibility, he has stepped away from our board and will not be putting his name forward for re-election this year. On behalf of the board and the entire organization, I want to express our sincere thanks to Senator Fredhandler for his dedication and service over the last 4 years. His thoughtful insight, sound judgment, and deep commitment to doing what is best for our customers has made a lasting impact. His guidance helped shape our strategic direction and strengthen the decisions we made together as a board. We're proud to see Senator Fredhandler take on this new role, serving Canadians, and we also wish him every success as he continues to contribute to public service in the Senate. With this change, the 11 directors put forward for re-election to hold office are up on the screen and are as follows: Neepa Chakravarty, Laura Formusa, Eric Markel, Barbara Monroe, Byron Nealis, Dr. Chika Onwekwe, Mark Poweska, Elise Rees, Charles Rugrach, William Taylor, and Bruce Williamson. Subject to approval of the proposed resolution, the board will remain comprised of 11 members and will continue to govern with the view to serving our shareholder and the citizens of Calgary and ensuring Enmax is well positioned to deliver value in the future. May I please have a motion to move the resolution before you?
On behalf of the shareholder, I will move what is before us in terms of election of directors. And let me ask my colleagues, is anyone opposed to this? I will cast the ballot in favor on behalf of the shareholder.
Thank you again, Mayor Gondek. With that, we are now completed the formal business of our annual shareholder meeting. May I please have a motion to end the annual meeting?
I will make the motion to adjourn the meeting. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned.
On behalf of Enmax, I would like to thank Mayor Gondek and members of council for being with us today and for supporting the work of Enmax. We look forward to another productive year in 2025. I would now like to welcome our President and CEO, Mark Poweska, to provide an update. There will be time following his remarks for a question and answer session for members of the public, followed by media.
Thank you, Charles, for your remarks. 2024 was a defining year for Enmax as we built momentum around a renewed strategic focus, anchored by our deliberate decision to evolve to a regulated utility. This allows us to maintain a low-risk financially stable profile through operational efficiency and investments in wires infrastructure. Regulated businesses provide predictable returns and enhance financial resilience, and also ensure we can continue delivering electricity to customers. This strategic focus also supports our shareholders' expectations, as outlined in our shareholder value proposition. Enmax is a low-risk, reliable, and agile organization, steadily increasing value over time and aligned with the city's goals. For Calgarians, this means confidence in the long-term sustainability of their utility and a reliable source of revenue for the city. In saying that, it's important to note that our competitive business, including our generation assets and our Enmax retail business, will continue to play an important role. Enmax remains an important part of our portfolio, making us the leading market provider of natural gas and electricity, with over 500,000 Albertans as Enmax customers. As we look forward, we expect our regulated earnings to become a larger part of our portfolio as these businesses grow. At the same time, our competitive earnings will stay flat or decline due to market competition and rising carbon costs. Our revised strategic direction rests on 3 pillars: operational excellence, responsible growth, and enabling the energy transition. These pillars are grounded in our values: safety, integrity, service, accountability, agility, innovation, and teamwork. And it is driven by our purpose, lighting the way to a brighter energy future. That purpose guides every goal, decision, and initiative at Enmax. And when we lead with purpose, we build trust, foster a strong culture, and chart a course for lasting success. To support our strategic pillars, we maintained a disciplined financial approach through 2024, closely aligned with our shift towards regulated growth. 90% of our capital was directed at our regulated businesses, reinforcing our commitment to secure, reliable infrastructure and supporting our growing city. For 2024, Enmax's adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, and comparable net earnings were $922 million and $343 million, compared to $829 million and $316 million, respectively, in prior years. The improved earnings are primarily attributable to an increase in transmission and distribution margins in the regulated businesses, driven by an increase in customer sites, regulated energy demand, and regulator-approved rates. It is also due to an increase in electricity margin in the competitive business, retail customer growth, and lower cost to supply. Versant Power is also a critical part of Enmax's long-term strategy. Expanding our regulated business across multiple jurisdictions has enhanced our ability to further evolve as a regulated business, benefiting from geographic, regulatory, and currency diversification, an opportunity that may not have been possible before. In 2024, Versant's comparable net earnings were $46 million and provided 14% of the dividend to the shareholder. When it comes to infrastructure investment in 2024, in total, we invested $702 million in Alberta and Maine as part of our continued focus on grid reliability, community growth, and overall resilience. This is critical as electricity powers nearly every aspect of our life. And as operators of a diverse system, we must keep our system reliable today and into the future. It's these kinds of investments that place us in the top quartile in Canada and more locally, offering Calgary customers, on average, less than 1 outage per year. A great example of infrastructure investment is substation number 1 along 9th Avenue Southwest, which is now over 100 years old. True to its name, Calgary's original substation, built to power streetcars and streetlights, plays a critical role in supplying electricity to 45% of Calgary's downtown area. We're upgrading it because it's near the end of its lifespan, and we need to have a reliable and modernized power supply to our growing city for decades to come. We also recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary of the Shepherd Energy Centre, one of Alberta's largest generating facility and Canada's cleanest combined cycle generation plant. Across Alberta, we now serve more than 1.3 million customers and manage over 1,200 megawatts of generating capacity and more than 9,000 kilometers of distribution lines, a responsibility we don't take lightly. But as Calgary grows, so does the demand for electricity. In 2024 alone, we connected over 7,800 new lots, more than double the 10-year average, and installed over 21,000 meters. Our infrastructure investments are designed to meet that increasing demand safely and reliably. Alongside reliability and resilience, we are equally committed to responsibility, doing what's right for the environment, our customers, and our future. At Enmax, ESG is not just a framework, it's embedded in everything we do. We're building a climate-resilient business, integrating climate risk into planning, strengthening infrastructure, and ensuring long-term sustainability. For example, we reduced Scope 1 and 2 GHG emissions by 65% from 2015 levels, completed 29 rooftop solar installations through our Community Solar Fund, and partnered with the Prairie Adaptive Research Collaborative to develop a climate model for the Calgary region. Just yesterday, we released our 2024 ESG report on our website. This report offers an in-depth review of our ESG commitments. Our commitment to sustainability also goes hand in hand with our commitment to community. The cost of living today is a complex challenge that requires collaboration with industry, government, and partnership agencies. We have different segments of customers. While some are able to invest in ways to change their energy consumption, like using solar panels, there are also a segment of our customers who are just trying to make ends meet. It's these customers where we must do our part to help make energy accessible. In 2024, we helped customers through education, energy literacy, usage tracking, and our load limiter program, which saw us receive Chartwell's Silver Award for Excellence in serving vulnerable customers. Through our payment support team, customers are provided with payment resources and options like our equalized payment plan. Our Enmax customer care team is also locally operated, with all our agents based here in Calgary. This team handled over 800,000 customer interactions in 2024 with a 90% satisfaction rate. Last year, Enmax also contributed over $4.2 million in donations, in-kind support, and employee matches in areas of energy education and safety, poverty relief, scholarships, and grants. We also deepened understanding of our role in reconciliation with our internal Indigenous communities, launching a new Indigenous employee resource group and expanding cultural awareness and reconciliation education across the organization. Our incredible team also stepped up, logging over 5,300 volunteer hours across 294 organizations and providing more than $400,000 through our employee giving program. The impact of these volunteer opportunities is heartfelt and real, and I thank our employees for their generosity. Looking ahead, we remain steadfast in our commitment to our purpose, lighting the way to a brighter energy future. By delivering safe, reliable electricity, future-proofing our infrastructure, enabling electrification, maintaining disciplined and low-risk growth through strategic investments, and ensuring energy accessibility through education, outreach, and community support. In 2025, this work is already underway, as evidenced by our ongoing support of Calgary's Green Line project to make way for the LRT construction. We also recently received funding from Emissions Reduction Alberta and the Government of Alberta for a program we call Enmax Connect, a first in Alberta pilot that serves a part of Calgary that includes a mix of residential, commercial, and industrial customers. It will create new systems, including new distributed energy resource management, enabling solar, batteries, and EVs to help us assess the impacts of increased electrification on the grid. In closing, I want to acknowledge that at the core of Enmax are our employees, who are also our customers and members of the communities we serve. Their expertise, passion, and dedication are the driving force behind our success. And I want to thank Council for your support over the last 4 years. I'll now ask Charles to join me, and we'll take any questions from Mayor and Council and from the public in attendance or online today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I'll start by opening up for questions from any of our shareholder members of council and representatives. Councillor Chabot.
Just a couple of quick ones. With the introduction of Bill 52 by the province, which puts, I guess, more onus on the generator, and the discussion around solar, although our focus is going to be primarily on the regulated side, I'm just curious about Enmax's plans on a go-forward basis as far as potentially maximizing on that opportunity to enhance our solar assets, or I mean, at least improving the ability to advance more solar generation on our roofs in the city of Calgary, as an example.
I'll maybe get Mark to address that.
Sure. As I talked before, our strategy is to evolve to a regulated utility, and we're not investing in, call it, grid scale solar or generation of any form, as we put our money into the wires parts of our business, particularly to support the growing needs of Calgary, which, as you know, is one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. That being said, part of the Enmax Connect and part of our overall strategy is how do we enable electrification, including things like solar, like rooftop solar, even though we may not participate in offering the actual product. Our role is to make sure that we're not a barrier to that and that we're enabling it.
Okay, thank you. Great answer. The smart metering, infrastructure replacement, upgrading, to respond to the projected increases in demand due to electrification, such as electric cars and whatnot, and by putting more demand on the residential sector, where are we at in regards to those upgrades and our plans on a go-forward basis?
Yeah, we've been rolling out AMI smart meters and the infrastructure to support those for several years now. We are projecting that our total deployment is actually going to be delayed slightly. And the reason for that delay is the amount of growth capital that we've had to put into the growing city to support new customer connects. Because when we're a regulated utility and you have a certain approved bucket of capital from the regulator, given that the growth has exceeded what that allows, we've had to divert some of the money from our AMI project to support the growth in new connects for new customers.
One final question for me is, in light of the fact that we've had unprecedented returns from Enmax in the last year, do you anticipate we'll be able to sustain that level of return to the city on a go-forward basis?
As I said earlier, the competitive part of our business has been providing a lot of those returns. The commodity prices of electricity in Alberta over the last couple of years have been very strong. There was some new generation came on last year, which has softened the market on the competitive side. So I don't expect those high levels of returns to continue as the commodity margin softens. That said, our hybrid model, where we combine our generation fleet with our retail book, allows us to smooth that out over a longer period of time. But I think we've hit a peak from the market perspective, so I expect that to come down.
I would just add that while it's more challenging for the competitive side of our business, it's also good news for our customers because the market is softening and we are seeing prices come down. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Councillor Walcott?
Thank you. I wanted to ask a question about one of the highlights of the report with regards to addressing Calgary's rapid growth, in particular the replacing of aging infrastructure. Obviously, your shining star is Substation 1 on 9th. And I was wondering if you could give kind of some insight into, as that project targets wrapping up soon, what the future of infrastructure replacements might look like throughout the city that citizens could expect.
Yeah, a lot of the grid in the city was built. Substation 1 is a great example 100 years ago. So part of our capital is focused on sustaining capital, which means replacing aging infrastructure. We are facing the same challenge as I talked about with AMI, that with the amount of growth and the capital we're putting into that, it is taking from our sustaining capital. That said, we are investing in new things like new transmission lines to feed the center core, new cables, new underground infrastructure. So we direct our capital at the highest risk assets. So people of the city will see us and Enmax trucks around as we replace that aging infrastructure. Our job is to look out for the long term and ensure we have long-term reliability and capacity to support the growth of the city, and that's what our planners do.
Councillor Penner?
Thanks. So I think picking up a little bit on what Councillor Walcott was going, but getting a little bit more granular, and conversations that I've been having is just sort of the cost of replacing transformers sort of on a lot by lot basis, but sort of the restriction on capital upgrades that you have through the energy regulator, and then the cost to do that in terms of sort of like capital upgrades that happen over an entire community versus a property by property is like increasing the cost of certain housing types. And so I'm just wondering actually like what can we do as council, or what is the awareness that we need to be raising, with other orders of government so that the cost of housing isn't unfairly, certain housing types, especially row housing, isn't unfairly burdened with having to pay for transformer upgrades, whereas like a single or a semi isn't getting that, but it's simply coming because you're only allowed to do so many capital upgrades annually because of the regulated environment.
Yeah, you're correct in that the Alberta Utilities Commission lays out the rules for who pays for what parts of it. Customers pay for a contribution, and us as the utility, we pay for parts of infrastructure upgrade. And so your question around what council can do, we're working with the build community, we're working with the regulator, and looking at the go forward capital requirements for us to invest in the backbone. And historically, the way rates are set are based on looking to the past, how much was spent, and then applying that to the future. What we've argued with the regulator is that the past isn't a depictor of the future, particularly when you're in growth like this. And so we continue to advocate for our customers with the regulator to ensure that we have the capital we need to support that growth.
Councillor Mian?
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, Mark and Charles. Some really great updates. I had a few questions about growth, but I think you've sufficiently covered that. At the city, we've been spending a lot of time talking about how the city can insulate itself from procurement challenges with tariffs and the global situation that we are facing. What steps has Enmax taken to ensure that your procurement practices are protected from tariffs as you make capital investments?
Yeah, we obviously, like everybody else, when the tariff situation was unfolding, we evaluated where we get our goods and services from, and assessed our exposure. A lot of the things we purchase are from Canada and other areas. So our initial assessment, based on what we know about the tariffs right now, and as everybody knows, that can change daily. But our assessment right now is that the direct impact on us is fairly minimal. Our bigger concern is what is the broader impact on the economy, which leads to further affordability challenges with our customers. And so the direct impacts are fairly small, but there is a concern over what that means to our customers.
This question actually is for Councillor Wyness because they can't, their mic isn't working. So she wants to kind of understand how Trump's new bill threatens major increases for Canadian businesses. What does that mean for the Versant file?
Yeah, great question. We operate, obviously, Versant is in Maine, so east coast of the U.S. The new bills don't have a significant impact because in Maine, we're a wires company, similar to Enmax Power here. So we're not exposed to the commodity side of the business down there. The bills are really targeted at reducing some of the infrastructure funding mechanisms for more the generation side than the wire side. And so we're not forecasting big impacts directly again, but the broader economic impacts on our customers are the things we're concerned about.
Seeing no further questions from members of council, I'll now open it up to the floor for members of the public in attendance. Okay, seeing no questions, I think we're ready to bring the meeting to a close. Thank you for attending. Appreciate your interest.
Thank you.